Hello everyone, hello, hi, how are you? I hope everyone is doing good. Let's talk about spiritual changes. We all go through them. If you are on a spiritual journey or a witchcraft journey, then you will find more often than not that your path goes down different tracks, goes down different routes. It sort of meanders this way and it meanders that way. It's organic and it flows, and not everything always stays the same. And that's how we grow, and that's how we learn, and that's how we find our authenticity as practitioners and as humans. And I am no exception. I have been through a couple of really big changes in my spirituality in the last wee while, and these two things specifically I really wanted to discuss in this video, or just share really more than anything. You might get something out of it, you might not, but I would quite like to have a visual sort of documentation of it for myself. So that is what this video is going to be about. At the moment you are looking at my my Beltane altar, which I am absolutely in love with. And in honour of this video, I'm going to light my Beltane candle. I made this candle before Beltane. Beltane's long gone, but I haven't wanted to burn it because it's so pretty and I just love it. And there's some little toadstools and a little fairy window and some leaves. I've been getting into crafting my own candles for the Sabbats and little spell candles and things, and I've really enjoyed the process. This is scented in dragon's blood. I thought it was quite fitting for Beltane, and I'm just absolutely in love with it. But I am going to light it because I can't keep it forever. I do have another one that I would like to make for Letha. So let's light it on here. And it'll be something to look at anyway, or something nice to smell. And there we go. Okay, so spiritual changes. There's been two really big ones that have happened in the last few months, and I'm just going to get right on into it now. The first one is that I am no longer in a coven. I joined a coven a little over a year ago, and it's been fraught with issues over the last little bit. And everything came to a head quite recently, just a couple of months ago. And looking back, I actually cannot... I'm struggling to think why I didn't do something about this sooner, but you get a little bit complacent and you want to believe the best in people. I know I do. So I'm not going to go into the whole history of how I came about joining this coven. Well, I think I probably should a little bit. I think I should a little bit, just to give a little bit of context. So I did a trial period with this coven. It's at least 10 years ago. The trial periods were, they have a 3-month trial period for new initiates, and I lasted 2 months and then decided it wasn't really for me. I lost touch with the High Priestess and didn't really give her, well, no more than a sort of a cursory thought over those intervening years. Then I saw her at a witchy shop. I didn't actually say anything to her because I didn't think she'd remember me. Left my phone number with the woman that was working there, because I could tell just from the conversation that they were quite good friends, and said, hey, could you pass my number on to this woman? You know, I used to be in her group, in her circle, yada, yada, yada. We got in contact. She asked me to come back to circle, or if I would like to, and I decided that yes, I would. And that was actually my biggest mistake, because when she asked me, I'd gone over there to catch up for a coffee, and I had no intention of joining her circle again. I just wanted to catch up and see how she was, and, you know, just talk to a fellow witch and a fellow pagan and just connect. And she was pretty quick to ask me if I wanted to come back to circle, and I had that moment, and we all have them, and you would think that at this stage of my practice, I've been practicing for over 20 years, and I've been on this earth for 46 years, that I would listen to my intuition, and I didn't. And I had that feeling in my gut that this isn't, no, we shouldn't be doing this. But I ignored it, and I thought, oh, okay, yeah, no, I would love to. So I came back to Circle, and for the first 3 to 4 months, I suppose everything was pretty good. And then I started feeling some judgment coming towards me, some judgment aimed at me from another member. Now, this coven was made up of the High Priestess, her husband, and their friend. They were the 3 foundation members, and they're obviously the longest members in this coven. And the High Priestess started this coven many years ago. Her husband joined, and then their friend joined. So I refer to them as the foundation members because they're the longest ones that have been in this group. And it was the friend that I started feeling some judgment from, and it was a feeling of being looked down upon. As it's turned out, this person's very, very snobby, and for want of a better description, is well, so far up her own arse she can't see daylight. Really into herself, very looking down her nose at people. You know, she's got a great job, and she's got a fairly new house that they've built, and she's got lots of money, and it's sort of like, that's fine. I'm not judging that at all. But when you look down your nose at other people that don't have that, then that becomes, you know, that's kind of icky, and that's kind of not very nice to judge people if they've got less. And so I started feeling sort of waves of judgment, and actually another member did too, and we actually had a conversation about it. That member has since left the coven as well, and we've become quite good mates, which is interesting. So that was the first thing. I started feeling these sort of waves of negativity and judgment being aimed towards me, and it was not pleasant, because it, you know, if you're sharing energy with people in a circle, you don't want to feel that someone's judging you or someone doesn't really like you very much. So that was the first thing. The second thing, and is actually the biggest thing, I still actually can't believe that this happened, and every time I think about it I get angry all over again. But essentially, it was coming up to Beltane. Beltane was this Beltane of this year, which was 31st of October, 1st of November here. And so it was coming up to Beltane, and the High Priestess had messaged me and said, hey, how would you feel about putting together a Beltane ritual for the group, and leading the ritual, and putting something together in a way that you personally would celebrate. And it was completely out of the blue. It's not something that I really wanted to do, but I thought, well, it's an opportunity. It would be good for my confidence. So I was like, okay. Okay, sure. So she sort of hit me with it on a Friday, sort of late afternoon, and literally gave me less than 48 hours to put it together, because we had a coven meeting coming up on the Sunday. So literally, like, not even really 2 days notice. So I spent all Friday night, all day Saturday, most of Sunday putting together this ritual, and I was really quite proud of it, because it's something that I've never led a group ritual before, and although I was really nervous, I was quite excited about putting a little bit of witchcraft into our rituals, because we don't really do active witchcraft in the rituals. It's a lot of meditation, and it's a lot of this, that, and the next thing, but there's not really a lot of active witchcraft, which that's a whole other thing. And so I'd come up with an idea to make Beltane intention jars, and these could be finished on our own, actually on Beltane. So we would craft them in Circle, and then on Beltane that'd be something that we could do privately. And it was about 4 to 5 weeks to Beltane, so I thought, well, that would give people sort of an opportunity to do a little bit of study into it as well, and really sort of put their intention into it. And I thought it was a nice thing to do. So we had our meeting, we had a coven meeting. It got to my sort of time where, and I was like, okay, well, have you come up with a ritual? Yes, I have, I answered, and proceeded to talk about my idea. I was really excited about it. I was really passionate about it. And the High Priestess's husband completely cut across what I was saying, completely interrupted me, completely cut me off, and said very, very sharply, I won't be taking part in that. That's not how you celebrate Beltane. You're doing that wrong. And I was speechless for a few seconds. I was like, did he just gatekeep me? Like, blatantly gatekeep me? Like, are you serious? It was the most awkward situation I think that I have. I mean, I've been in some awkward situations. That would have just about been right up there with this is, I feel physically sick. I want to just get out of here. It was ghastly. And I just could not believe that he had actually said that. What's the first thing that we are all told when we start off on this journey? No one can tell you how to practice. No one can tell you how to practice or honour the Sabbats. It's up to you how you practice. There's no right or wrong way to practice. Yada, 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 yada. There's definitely no right or wrong way to honour the Sabbats. That is completely personal and individual to the witch. But he wasn't having a bar of it. And so I was completely stunned. Everyone didn't know. No one knew where to look. What was worse was that his wife, the High Priestess, actually had the gall to agree with him, remembering that she had asked me to put this together and to come up with a ritual, to design a ritual on how I would personally celebrate. And she actually agreed with him. Yes, no, that's not how things are done. And in the end, I just said, look, I was so flustered by this stage. I'm not very good in situations like that because I'm not very quick at thinking on my feet. I'm one of those that, I should have said that afterwards. I should have just got up and stormed out, got my stuff and said, I'm done. See you later. Enjoy your life. But I didn't, because I'm a wuss, I guess. And I hate confrontation and I hate drama. So I didn't. I just said, okay, I don't want to discuss it anymore. Let's move on, please. And they were like, okay, cool. And I was like, I wasted an entire weekend. These people don't work. They're both retired. So they have all the time in the world to dedicate to whatever they're doing. And my weekends are precious. You asked me to do something in my own way. I did it, and it didn't meet this guy's standards. I just was absolutely flabbergasted. I still cannot believe that actually happened. So I stayed in the coven for another couple of weeks. We had our ritual, our typical moon, monthly ritual that we do a couple of weeks later. And I was really not wanting to be there. I'd sort of made up my mind that I don't think this place is for me, and I couldn't get over this whole gatekeeping thing. Like I just couldn't. And so we had the ritual. I didn't enjoy it. And then I was talking to one of my coven sisters that left, the one that left, and it came out in our conversation that there'd been bitching going on. There had been catty, nasty talk from these 3 foundation members pretty much against everyone. The only one that didn't get talked about was the High Priestess's daughter, who was also a coven member, and currently, due to ill health, is not in the coven anymore either. She was the only one that didn't get bitched about. Just about everyone else did. And myself and my coven sister that left and another woman were the 3 main targets. Catty, nasty, bitching, slagging off. And I said to my friend, my coven sister, I said, you should have told me this sooner. You should have told me this is, this is unbelievable. And with that, I drafted a letter. I actually did it via messenger. I thought, you don't even deserve me coming to see you in person. You don't deserve that. I drafted a letter. I told them exactly what I thought of them, and said basically, I can't even remember what I said now, and I've deleted it because I just don't want that crap near me. And I left. And even though they know that they were in the wrong, they still saw fit. I left my circle candle. We each had our own personal candle that we would light during our ritual. And I had my ritual beads, and they were left for me in her letterbox, and she broke the beads. She claimed that she dropped them and they broke, and you can clearly see that they've been pulled apart because the threads all frayed. They were triple knotted, they were double stranded. There's no way that you could drop them on a piece of carpet and they would break like that. I'm not fucking stupid. So disgusting behaviour from people that are in a place of nurture, in a place of leadership, and this is actually how they treat people. And this group is imploding in on itself because covens just can't exist on toxic behaviour like that. And I should have listened to my gut instinct when I first met up with this woman and she asked me back to circle, and I should have said no. But I didn't. So it was a really big lesson for me to listen to myself and trust my gut, because it never lets me down. It's unbelievable that there are people like that just that the thing, a behaviour like that is just acceptable. And I said to my coven sister, I said, I've had so much drama online. I mean, you guys know the past. I've had so much online drama within the witchy community. I have spent a lot of years, those intervening years, working on myself and going through a lot of shadow work and a lot of healing and emerging into a person that I actually really like. I like myself now. I admire myself now. And I'm really proud of myself. And I couldn't say that before. I was really quite disgusted in my past behaviour, and I've changed so much in those years. And any hint of catty, nasty behaviour like that, I just run a mile, because I don't want it in my space, and I have not dragged myself out of the muck and the mire to get myself back into it. So when I sent that private message into our group chat so everyone could read it, I felt a huge weight lift off my shoulders, and I didn't realise how much tension I was actually carrying with regards to this coven. And in all honesty, I really wasn't enjoying it. It's not what I really thought it would be. It was the same thing every month. Every month it was the same thing. Even the homework that we were given was, I don't know how many times we had to study a colour, like kindergarten children. Oh God, there was no imagination. And if you suggested anything, you were shot down. It was just, you can't have ego and arrogance in a group like that. You just can't. And arrogance and ego are two things I really don't like in humans, and it's a big turn off for me. And so I feel absolutely no regrets in leaving. What I do regret is wasting a year of my time with people that did not deserve me. So that's the end of that, and I will never join another coven in my life again. Myself and my other coven sister that left, and she left for different reasons, but since talking, there are quite a few similarities. We get together and we do a little bit of witchcraft on our own, nothing heavy. It's not a coven. It's just, getting together and doing some witchy stuff, some witchcrafting, and that's lovely, and there's no pressure, and it's just honouring, and it's just lovely. So that is a really positive thing that has come out of it. And I have met two really lovely women through that group, and I'll be forever grateful for that. But yeah, I'm glad to see the arse end of that group, and never will I ever join another coven again. And I have been asked, there's another coven existing in my city that I've been asked if I'd consider, and no thank you. So that's that bit done. That was a real journey, that was. Anyway, the next big thing that's happened spiritually for me, and this actually occurred, the synchronicity is just staggering. This occurred actually during my second to last ritual that I did with this coven, and it occurred during our meditation. They do a meditation every month in the ritual, and this occurred during that meditation. And that is that I am no longer working with the goddess Morrigan. She was my patron goddess since 2016, 2016, the end of one year, the start of another, sort of in that period. I actually can't remember, that's quite bad, but since around about then. And during this ritual, during this meditation, she released me. And it was such a celebration for me. I felt just $1 million when it happened. A lot of people might think, well, that's really sad when a deity leaves. It's almost, like a parting of a relationship. No, not for me. Morrigan came to me sort of on the precipice of a really traumatic time in my life. And, if you know anything about the goddess, then you know that's often the case. She came to me at the beginning, and she came to me because I had some massive changes that had to happen in my life. I was not living a good life. I was living a really dishonourable life. I was living a very toxic life. I was toxic to other people, and it's, online as well as in my personal life. I was just not a nice person. And I desperately wanted to be, but I was just so filled with anger and just a dislike for myself and arrogance. Probably why I dislike it in other people, because I've been guilty of it myself, and I was just such a horrible person. And she came to me sort of at the beginning of all that, and the intervening years were awful. I had a lot go on, which is really personal and not something that is I'll ever discuss on YouTube, but awful, resulting in an emotional breakdown. And it was just it was really horrible, and I had some huge changes that had to be made in my life, huge changes, and I went through hell making those changes. And Morrigan sort of, she has this way where she sort of peels back the layers until you're nothing but like a husk, and then build you back up again. And it's a slow, painful, bloody practice, and it's an awful journey. And there are times when I didn't want to be here anymore, and life was just exhausting, and it was grey, and there was no happiness in it. But I got through it, and I got through it because of her. I owe her the biggest debt of gratitude. And I am and will forever be grateful for her presence in my life. But I did realise that sort of maybe a couple of years ago that her presence in my life was not going to be forever. We didn't have that strong bond that a lot of Morrigan devotees or priestesses have, or daughters of the Morrigan, or whatever whatever terminology you use. We didn't have that really close bond. And she was there to do a job. She was there to see the job done. She was there to stay to make sure that the changes were going to be permanent, and then she was going to go. And that was kind of always how it was going to be. And so I have been feeling her pulling away sort of for the last maybe 12 to 18 months. And at first I was a little bit sad about it, and I a little bit panicked, and I thought, how am I going to survive without her? How am I going to conduct myself without her presence? Because she demands that you live to your potential, and that you live an honourable life, and that you have personal sovereignty, and that you hold yourself up in high esteem. And I don't mean in an arrogant way, but that your morals and the way that you conduct yourself is worthy of being here. And I was worried that I would fall back into bad habits, but I didn't. And so she hung around for a bit to make sure that that I was good, and that I'd learnt what I needed to learn, and that the changes were permanent. And so during this meditation, it's so weird because meditation is not something that is a strong point with me. I especially in a group setting, I really struggle with it. But I was sitting there doing my typical breathing. I normally just focus on my breathing, and I think, well, if anything, that I'm getting some good, deliberate breathing in, which is good for me. And so I was doing my breathing exercises that I always do, and she just came to me, and it was the most bizarre yet exhilarating experience, because I could literally hear her in my head, hear her voice in my head, and it was lovely. And I mean, I'm not going to obviously repeat what was said, and even I can't remember sitting here now everything that was said, but the overall feeling was, good job, you don't need me anymore, you've done what needed to be done, and it's time for me to go. And I will always be around, but I don't think you're going to need me again. And it was a really moving, I mean, I came out of that meditation and just couldn't speak, really. I was just so awestruck. So she released me, and I had a couple of minutes of feeling like I had suffered a really big loss, and then I just felt this joy bubble up inside me, because I'd made it. I had made my journey. I'd come to a point where the bad stuff was behind me. And everyone always has bad stuff in their life. I'm not saying I'm never going to experience grief or pain or whatever again, but that icky stuff that I had created, my life that I was living in, that I've dealt with it, I've healed from it, and that's huge. And I just felt this joy and this immense pride for myself, and the lightness in my heart was just amazing. And so that was a wee while ago now, and I will always hold her in the highest regard, and she's a goddess that I'm always gonna honour in some way, but I don't feel her presence anymore, and that's quite a relief for me, because she's got quite an intense energy, and she can be a bit draining, and I was ready to pursue other things. So it's been years, and I finally feel like I have really come home to myself with my witchcraft journey and my path. And so where to from now? Well, I have done a bit of a 360 with my spirituality, and I have really been called back to a very Wiccan-based practice. And some people might roll their eyes and say, oh, that's a fluffy bunny witchcraft. I don't care. I started out studying Wicca and all those years ago, and I felt like I'd come home, and then I sort of took different journeys, and I sort of went down different paths, and I learnt different things. But I always really felt that something was missing. And when Morrigan released me, I got home that night, and I sort of sat there and I thought, I've got the freedom to do whatever the F I want with my spirituality, because I sort of felt that when Morrigan was in my practice, and in my life that I couldn't pursue certain things. That, not that she was sort of holding me back. Sorry, that ended. I don't know where I was. I felt that I don't know, just that I couldn't pursue what I really wanted to pursue with my practice. I suppose in a way I did feel a little bit trapped, and I felt quite stagnant and stale, and I really wasn't having a lot of joy in my practice at that time. And I got home that night and I could just do what I want. I feel now that I just being released. I've just got this whole new shiny world to explore with my spirituality, and it came to me and it was like, you're going back to your roots. That is where you were always the happiest, where you always felt the most connected, and that's where you belong, and that's where you need to be. So I have gone back to a very Wiccan based practice, and I don't feel the need, oh sorry, I'm shaking the camera, I don't feel the need to have a specific deity in my practice. I am just happy with the goddess and the god in the abstract. I don't feel that I need a specific god or a specific goddess. I will honour different goddesses during different Sabbats, which is something that I also felt I couldn't really do when I was sort of dedicated to Morrigan. She's a complicated goddess. She really is. And I'm just seeing this practice through just completely different eyes, and I'm really enjoying going back and reading old books and reading my old Scott Cunningham books and just seeing things with this whole new freshness that I haven't felt for so many years. And it really is that feeling of coming home and feeling closeted and safe and completely happy with my spirituality. And being just doing things that like this altar, for example. I've never had an altar just for the Sabbats. I've always added little bits and pieces to acknowledge the Sabbats on altars, but I've never had an altar just simply dedicated to each Sabbat. And I've so enjoyed putting altars together and just honouring the Sabbats on their own, and dedicating to working magic that's associated with the Sabbats, and really immersing myself in the Wheel of the Year and in green witchcraft, which is something that has held my love for so long. And just I like the structure of Wicca. I feel that probably because I have OCD, that probably plays into it, but I like the fact that there are a few rules, and I like that that there's structure to it, and it appeals to me, and I just feel so much love for my spirituality. I really can't express it. I'm in a good place. I'm in a good place with my spirituality and with my life, and it's just something that I wanted to share, and just to put a reminder out there. For goodness sake, listen to your gut instinct. It will never let you down. Never ever let you down. And it's something I need to remind myself of every now and again. Even us old hags can get caught out, you know. So I thought I would just show you actually a couple of little bits and pieces on this altar that I'm just loving the altar. I'm just loving the energy of this altar. I have a little crystal haul coming up, and when I say little, I mean in the physical sense, all the crystals that I'm going to show you in this haul. I'm just waiting on one more order to come through. They're all very little in stature, and they're the cutest little crystal haul that you ever did see. And that should be up in a couple of weeks. Hopefully my last order arrives this week. But keep an eye out for that. Okay, so there are a couple of things that I actually just wanted to show you on this altar that I'm just in love with. One of them is this. Now, I got this guy from the thrift shop quite a wee while ago. He's a little hare. Now he was white with like a floral print on him, and he opens up. He's got little bits of secret things in there, and I looked at him and I thought, how perfect would he be as a little mini spell box. So I painted him up. I put some air dry clay on him. I love that he's got little daisies all over him. He's very green, witchcrafty based, and he's just big enough. I'll show you. I'll take out what's in here because I don't really want that being seen. So he's just big enough to put in spell items, little spells that I want to have on my altar, tucked away for only me to see. And it's surprising what you can fit in here. Petitions and herbs and crystals and all sorts of things. So that's what he is, and that's a bit of an idea that you can do. If you see little bits and pieces at thrift shops, you can decorate things up and upcycle them and turn them into something really practical for your practice. So I'm really quite proud of him. I think he's gorgeous. I also made this. I wanted a new incense holder for my altar, and I could not find anything. I really didn't want anything that was mass produced, because I'm not into mass produced stuff. So I made this little, oh God, I'm sorry, I keep knocking the camera, the tripod. I made this little toadstool. I'll see if I can just tip that down on my little bin down there. Little toadstool incense holder, and I think he turned out really cute. He's made from polymer clay, so oven baked clay, and just think it's adorable, just adorable. So crafted myself a new little incense holder. Oh God, there I go with the camera again, sorry. What else have I got on here that you might be interested in looking at? These are my little Beltane wax melts. These smell amazing. I've got certain herbs and a lovely scent, and they smell delicious, and they're in my little holder down here. I got that from the thrift shop. I'm really into pottery, especially like earthy toned pottery, browns and greens. I love brown. Brown's one of my favourite colours. Brown and forest green. Just absolutely love it. So I'm always gravitating towards earthy toned pottery, and I saw that at the op shop ages ago, and I thought it's perfect for my altar. I made a Beltane pole. I don't really like calling it a maypole because Beltane's not in May here. Whoops. And what have we else? We got, oh, I got a little mini terrarium. So there's a little fairy, little moss terrarium, little acorn toadstool. I don't know if you can really see that. And a little hedgehog. I'm a bit of a hedgehog fan. I love hedgehogs. The two little shelves, the two little triangular shelves, I made these. I actually watched a video. This was literally made from scrap cardboard, tissue paper, Mod Podge, paint, and sticks that I found out walking. And they're just absolutely awesome, and they hold all my crystals that I'm working with for this particular setup. I got the idea to make them from a video that my absolutely favourite YouTuber of all time, which is Alwyn Oak. I don't know if any of you guys watch her channel, but her channel just is, it's a vibe, and I love it so much. It's so calming, so beautiful. I love everything about her channel. So she had a tutorial, it might have been about a year old now, on how to make these little shelves, and I was like, what a brilliant idea. So I've made a few of them. I made a teeny tiny one that's on my Greenwich altar, and I'll show you that in another video. And and I love it. Oh, and I made a little green man. He's been made just from air dry clay. He's not perfect, but he's good enough for me. So little green man, and little sea treasures. We've been on a recent trip out to one of the bays, and I picked up some beautiful treasures. I absolutely love this spiral shell that I found. Oh, it was such a good day. We found this really quiet little bay. There was no one there, and my son and I had an absolute ball looking for, like, turning over the rocks and looking for little baby crabs, and oh, it was just, I don't know if that's going to focus, but oh, it was such a beautiful day. Such a beautiful day. We had a ball. I think I'm actually one of the luckiest parents in the world, because we actually went to celebrate my son's 24th birthday, and I said to him, you know, what do you want to do for your birthday? What do you want for your birthday? Because my son has Asperger's, and he can be really difficult to buy for, because he's just the most unmaterialistic person you've ever met in your life. And he said, Mum, I don't want a gift. He said, I've got everything. I don't want a gift. But he said, I'd like pizza for tea, for my birthday tea, because he always gets to choose what he wants for dinner. I want pizza for tea, and I want to go over to one of the bays and have a picnic. And that's what we did, and he had a ball, and we all had a ball, and it was a beautiful, beautiful day. We stopped off at another beach on the way home, and I got a wish stone. Wish stones are grey stones with white quartz running through them, and sometimes it's just a line. This one's got a cross, and this one's especially lucky. This is actually one of my most favourite stones in my whole crystal collection. I just love this thing. It's got a really beautiful energy to it. Yeah, so I think that's pretty much it. I think I've waffled on enough. Whether I will be doing videos regularly on here, I just don't know. I'd like to, but it's really hard. You get really disheartened when you see the beautifully edited videos that everyone else does. You think, really can't compete with that, and really don't want to learn to do that. I'm too busy, too focused on my garden. But I guess I'll just muddle away. You know, it doesn't matter. I make videos for myself, and someone might see it and think, oh, okay, that's interesting. But it's really not about numbers, so it's fine. But yeah, I don't know. I guess I'll just see you when I see you. I do have that little crystal haul coming up though, so I'm really excited to share that, because I've had these gorgeous wee crystals sitting on my witchy desk for ages, and I really want to put them away, but I know the minute that I put them away, I'm going to forget what I've brought. So they've been sitting there for the last sort of 2 or 3 weeks. I'm waiting on this last order to come in. So as soon as it does, I will get that video, because honestly, some of these crystals are just the cutest thing that I have ever seen. Rightio, so I will leave it there, and yeah, I will catch you guys later. I hope you're all well, and I hope that that the approaching winter isn't too bad at this stage. I'm not a winter person. I'm a spring and summer person, but I hope that that you guys are safe and happy and healthy, and I'll see you later. Okay, bye.